Spending time and surfing the internet is a cycle. You find the internet after years of being a child and having no devices. You go on it, you download Instagram, you download YouTube, you start watching YouTube, and it seems fun. And at first your parents give you a device. Your parents allow you on your iPad only 1 hour a day, and you stick to that. And once that hour is over, you come off and you're fine, you're satisfied. And the next day they give it to you. But this time, after the hour is over, you feel more of an urge to keep it. You become more protective and you refuse to give them your iPad. Well, this may take multiple days. I can't really remember since this was nearly 10 years ago now. But later and later, the iPad became more addictive and eventually I couldn't do without it. After years of using the internet profusely, obsessively, and reaching a point of boredom with it, I decided to order books. The classic books. They're so boring, aren't they? Or are they? Well, after consuming content for this long, it was nice to have a break from it and actually read books. Will I come back to consuming content later? Maybe, but not for a while, because for now I have all these books that I'm ready to read over the summer. So what did I read last summer? Let me show you. So I started off with this book. Who recognises this book? Yep, that's First Man, Chris Sturmey. This book was an easy read. It talks about reaching outlier male status. Now this is his idea of it. Obviously there are many different interpretations of it, but he has some great systems in here which are easy to learn and interpret. Straight 7 system. Reach a 7 out of 10 status in either all or as many possible areas of your life in order to create an accumulation effect. Marathon mindset. Be in there for the long-term game. The calendar effect. Waking up on a Sunday and realizing you can take the day off. Cut that out. Every day is a work day. I'm not meaning this is slavery or anything, but the grind never stops. This is really good because it's really thin and it didn't take long to read. It's good for beginners and will basically get you into reading. It's kind of like the transition from his videos into reading books. Next, the classic, The Way of the Superior Man. I read this book last year, all 51 chapters of it. It's a long one, it's got many lessons in there, but they're so important. Some people in my community use this as a blueprint to navigating your relationships and your purpose and your business. It's really good at those 3 things. Honestly, some invaluable lessons from this. Very important book. Next, the classic, The 4-Hour Workweek. This book is 17 years old now, so times have changed and you can actually do way more than what was outlined in this. For example, it talks about a lot of personal assistance and calling people, say in India, to do the work for you. Nowadays there's a lot of AI that can do the work instead for you. And also this came out the back end of the long 1990s work culture that sucked the soul out of many people. It made it hard to get by and it was kind of a slog, so people just wanted to vacation, so that's why it's only 4-hour work week. We realise now that that's too much time off and you're generally going to wander off and fall off your work ethic if you only work for 4 hours. But there are so many great concepts in here like outsourcing, autopiloting your income, how to reduce your actual work hours in the office and make them online. So really useful concepts there. We also have Atomic Habits. Now even the general population know about this book. My sister liked to read it. It talks about great psychological tips like habit stacking, i.e. adding one habit onto another in order to make use of your time and get yourself actually doing it without discipline. And finally, a very technical book called Deep Work by Cal Newport. I can't lie, this wasn't a very interesting book. It's all about psychology and responses and debates within that field, but the key principles remain. That you have 4 hours of really deep work per day, which you can use just to work and do nothing else. And it teaches you how to eliminate other distractions. And finally, the one I started recently, Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. Oh, David Goggins is just the GOAT, man. Who's gonna carry the boats? It starts off with his childhood trauma and nightmare and how that fueled him to become the fittest man in America. It's incredible, really, and I've yet to see his journey past his childhood and going into the Navy and the Army and the Air Force. So how did these books help me? Well, I ended up training my attention span, learning stories. When you're reading just one book, you don't have a constant feed of information in your other hand, distracting you from your work. It's not a hard work task. That should be more like your job or your passion or your business. But reading is a great thing to do in the meantime, and it's great at training your attention span to be better. They also have very valuable lessons. Each of those 6 books are unique in their own way and have taught me lessons that will remain with me forever. And I've got a whole lot more books stacked here. Look, in fact, I've got books keeping this camera up. Yeah, this is not actually on a stand, it's on top of these books. Yeah, there's a David Attenborough one in there because you can diversify your readings. Supernatural books, my godmother, she gives me the spiritual ones, and they're very good in their own field. I can trust her to give me good books in that field. Some of the other ones are the famous .com trilogy books, the MJ DeMarco books, absolute life changers apparently, Jordan Peterson, How to Win Friends and Influence People, and finally some Ryan Holiday books, The Infinite Game and Estrogeneration. I've been learning a lot about estrogenics and microplastics, and I'll actually be quantifying microplastics this summer as part of my university dissertation. So those are the books I plan to read and use my time with over summer in order to train my attention span and generally be more present and grateful during normal conversation. In the meantime, I'll keep off my phone at any dinner events, which I have done for a few years by the way, so I'm already pretty advanced in that field. And from here, we just do further training and see how far we can get. I trust that these books are good choices because they've been recommended by multiple people, and I'll for sure enjoy reading them over the summer. I definitely recommend reading those 6 books I mentioned, except probably for deep work, because most of it is just review of peer-reviewed studies and things explaining the point, which you don't really need. You just need to know that you have to be distraction-free and focused in the morning or at night time, which some people find, and do your 4 hours of constant, undisrupted, deep work in that time. But yeah, any of the books I've shown are valid, so go ahead and buy some. Please do implement reading into your summer. I'm sure it will help you. You'll become far more present and grateful and happy, and you can feel proud of yourself for reading over summer. Trust me. Thanks for listening. I'll see you in the next video.